The cryo-chamber was older than the war. That alone should have terrified me. It sat beneath the core of Bastion Station, buried behind layers of alloy, shielded by technology so ancient that even our best engineers could only maintain it, not truly understand it. No windows. No markings. Just a massive circular door etched with warnings in more languages than humanity officially recognized. Do not open. Subject designation. Extinction class. For 211 years, those words had been obeyed. Until today. I stood alone in the chamber control ring, my reflection warped across the curved glass of the observation deck. Commander Isaac Wren, Terran Defense Fleet, survivor of 3 frontier collapses, veteran of a war we claimed we won, but never explained. My hand hovered over the activation console, fingers trembling despite decades of combat experience. Commander, the station AI said softly, final confirmation required. Opening this chamber violates Protocol Omega. I know, I whispered. Protocol Omega meant one thing. Truth at any cost. Long-range sensors had detected movement beyond the Perseus Dark, patterns that matched only one known civilization. The enemy we buried. The enemy inside this chamber. Authorization code. The AI requested. I exhaled. Ren Theta 7. By authority of Earth Unified Command. A pause. Then, authorization accepted. The lights dimmed. The chamber hummed to life. I had been told my entire career that the being inside was a monster, a conqueror, the architect of humanity's near extinction during the Silent War. The last surviving member of a species so dangerous that killing it was considered too merciful. That was why it was frozen, preserved, contained. The door groaned open with a sound like a dying giant. Cold spilled outward, rolling across the floor in ghostly waves. Frost crept up the walls as internal systems disengaged. The cryopod emerged from the darkness. It was not mechanical. It was grown. Smooth, organic curves wrapped around a translucent core filled with shimmering blue fluid. Inside floated the enemy, taller than any human, slender, almost fragile-looking. Its skin resembled polished stone threaded with faint lines of light, pulsing slowly like a heartbeat. This was the being that destroyed entire fleets. This was the thing we feared for 2 centuries. Revival sequence initiated, the AI announced. Neural activity detected. My pulse hammered in my ears. The fluid drained. The being's eyes opened. They were not red, not glowing, not monstrous. They were calm, ancient, and painfully intelligent. I raised my weapon without thinking. Don't move, I said, my voice echoing in the chamber. You're restrained. Any hostile action. You won't shoot, the being said. Its voice vibrated through the air, layered with harmonics that made my skin prickle. It spoke perfect Terran Command. I froze. How do you know our language? I demanded. Because, it replied gently, you never stopped using ours. My grip tightened. Identify yourself. The being tilted its head slightly, studying me. I am Kael'thur, it said. Last strategist of the Varelian Continuum. And the reason your species still exists. Anger surged through me. You murdered billions. Yes, it said calmly. And you would have murdered trillions more. I stepped closer to the glass, fury overriding caution. You don't get to justify genocide. Kael'thur's gaze sharpened. Not hostile, but heavy with something like regret. Neither do you, it replied. Silence fell like a weight. I activated the recorder. Explain. Start from the beginning. Kael'thur closed its eyes. Very well, it said. But understand this, Commander Wren. Once you hear the truth, you will never again believe the story you were taught. The chamber lights dimmed further as holographic projections ignited around us. Stars blossomed into view. Galaxies forming, colliding, tearing each other apart. The universe has a pattern, Kael'thur began. Civilizations rise. They expand. They consume. They weaponize curiosity. And eventually, they erase themselves. Images shifted, worlds burning, stars collapsing under artificial strain. We were once like you, it continued. Young. Ambitious. Brilliant. We believed intelligence equaled entitlement. My throat tightened. We reached a point where no force could stop us, except time. And time was too slow. I crossed my arms. So you decided to stop us instead. Kael'thur opened its eyes. No. We decided to guide you. I laughed harshly. By attacking us? By testing you, it said. The word hit harder than any accusation. Humanity was never meant to conquer the stars unchecked, Kael'thur said. You were accelerated. Nudged. Your evolution carefully influenced. My heart began to race. That's impossible, I said. We evolved naturally. You evolved deliberately, it corrected. Shorter lifespans. Emotional volatility. Empathy strong enough to cause pain. My hands trembled. Why? I asked. Because empathy is the only trait that slows annihilation, Kael'thur said. It forces hesitation. Doubt. Sacrifice. Images shifted again, human ships holding the line while civilian transports fled. Soldiers staying behind to overload reactors. Entire fleets self-destructing to seal jump points. I had been there. So the war, I whispered, was never meant to be one, Kael'thur said. It was meant to reveal who you were when extinction stared back at you. Rage and horror twisted inside me. You kill my family, I said quietly. Yes, Kael'thur replied. And we condemned ourselves for it. I slammed my fist against the console. Then why retreat? Why vanish? Because you passed, it said. I stared at it. When faced with annihilation, Kael'thur continued, humanity chose preservation of others over dominance. You did not attempt to seize our technology. You did not pursue us beyond your borders. I remembered the final days of the war, how Command ordered a halt, even when victory seemed possible. You chose restraint, it said. Something we never learned until it was too late. My voice shook. So you froze yourself as what? A monument. A warning, Kael'thur said. And a key. My stomach dropped. To what? I asked. To what comes next? The holograms changed again, this time showing shapes far larger than stars. Shadows moving between galaxies. There are others, Kael'thur said. Older than us. Watching. The chamber felt suddenly too small. They allowed us to guide younger species, it continued. Until we failed. When we attacked you out of fear instead of trust, we violated the last rule. And now? I asked. And now they are coming, Kael'thur said softly. Not to test. Not to guide. To erase. I felt sick. The signals, I whispered. The ones Command detected. Kael'thur nodded. They're scouts. I lowered myself into a chair, mind reeling. Why tell me? I asked. Why not stay silent? Because you opened the chamber, it said. And because the secret you fear is the one you need. I looked up. What secret? Kael'thur leaned closer to the glass. That humanity was never weak, it whispered. Only unfinished. The words broke something inside me. All are wars, I said. All are suffering. We're growing pains, it replied. You were never meant to be perfect. You were meant to choose. Alarms blared suddenly. Red lights flooded the chamber. Commander, the AI said urgently, multiple unidentified signatures detected at the edge of known space. I stood. What happens now? I asked. Kael'thur's gaze hardened, not with fear, but resolve.